he was concerned. "I'll send a squad car over." "What? No, you're the detective. You should go." "I'm not going. For one thing, it isn't an investigation. An officer will suffice. And secondly, they're my neighbors. I don't want to freak them out with a full-on investigation of a murder when the only witness is unreliable." "Unreliable? I was a spy for the CIA for 8 years. I'd say that makes me pretty reliable." I could almost hear him shaking his head. "And you haven't slept in days. That means you could be hallucinating." He's right. I haven't slept well for weeks. For some reason, insomnia had set in a month earlier, right before Valentine's Day. I'd been so tired I'd almost left the house in a red dress and combat boots. "I don't think I'm hallucinating," I muttered. Just to be sure, I pinched Philby, who hissed and ran away. "Nope, not asleep." "Go to bed, Mary," Rex said firmly. "I'll send someone over." He hung up before I could say anything else. Now, a normal person might have gone to bed, like their significant other said, but my adrenaline was spiking, so I ran to the living room, turned out the lights, and hid behind a curtain, waiting for the squad car to arrive. There were several theories about my insomnia. Kelly, my best friend and co-leader of our Girl Scout troop, thought I was having pre-wedding jitters. I told her that technically it couldn't be pre-wedding jitters since we hadn't even picked a date yet. As for everyone else, Rex thought I was just plain crazy, and the 4 Caitlins in my Girl Scout troop announced that I was obviously suffering under the delusion that I was a vegetarian, pink bald eagle with glittery wings. They were probably all right. When I did sleep, I imagined I was a pink eagle with glittery wings. I wondered how they knew. Kelly was right. I was avoiding plans for the wedding. Why? Because I wasn't sure I was ready for this huge step. I'd only been engaged for 5 months. And during that time, a close friend had betrayed me, and my former handler had vanished into thin air. Thinking about Riley made my stomach drop into my knees. I'd made the right choice by choosing Rex. Besides, Riley hadn't proposed. Not that I'd wanted him to. Rex was my fiance, and I loved him. And I could count on him. And I trusted him. The same couldn't be said for Riley. Not after the stunt he'd pulled. Kelly said that once I picked a date, I'd feel better. I knew she was right. All this wedding stuff was too overwhelming. My best friend told me this was what I subconsciously wanted, or I wouldn't have bought a minivan. By the way, I bought a minivan. My little sedan wasn't able to transport my troop, so I bought something bigger. And no, this wasn't because Rex and I were going to start having kids. It was for the troop. Besides, if I ever bought something big, like a moose head or dresser, I'd have a vehicle big enough to take it home. My parents thought I was freaking out over nothing. There'd been endless text messages from my mother in D.C., who was more than thrilled to help me sort through all this wedding stuff. Since I was the only child of Senator Michael Churgy and my glamorous mother, Judith Rath Churgy, they were excited to help. Maybe I should turn it over to her? Or let Kelly handle things? The squad car turned the corner in front of my house and slowly crept forward to my neighbor's, the Fontana's, house. "No!" I whispered, to no one. Philby and her kitten Martini were apparently done with me. "Not Kevin!" The officer in question stepped out of the car with all the speed of a lobotomized sloth in a coma. He wiped his Cheetos-stained hands on his shirt and walked up to the door of the house. Kevin Dooley and I had a history. And by history, I mean we'd gone to the same elementary school, where he'd been a well-known paste eater. The man never spoke. I'd always assumed he was hired because the police department had to hire a paste eater for diversity purposes. But the police department in a small town like Who's There, Iowa, had to take what they could get. And Kevin's dad had once been the head of security at the local hospital. He pulled some strings.